What's up, guys? So I am making a quick video for you guys today about the shop. This is not a shop tour. This is shop tips. Um, just little things I've learned from having a shop for about 10 years that you can maybe apply to your shop. What if you don't have a shop? What if it's your kitchen table? What if it's a closet? What if it's not as big as mine? What if it's bigger than mine?
That's what she said.
It all applies. You can find a way to apply what I'm saying to where you work. My shop is actually not that big. I'm using the wide angle view on my phone right now. But to give you an idea, from here all the way to there is about 12 feet. It's not that big. And this way is less than 10. I believe it's like 9 feet. So I try and make the most with the space I have. So again, this is not a shop tour. If you want to see a shop tour, check the other videos. There's two. There's my old shop, which used to be a garage, and there's an earlier version of this before this area was renovated. I usually do one shop tour per year if the shop has changed. So look out for that if that's what you want. The first thing you will notice, this is a small space for the amount of stuff that's in it. And if things don't have a place, it's very easy for things to get lost. I know this because I've had a smaller shop than this, which was a small room in my old house. Um, and I would constantly lose things to the point where I would rebuy things that I thought were either lost or I thought maybe I was like, maybe I never bought it. And I would just buy it again. And then I would do my annual cleanup and find three versions of the same tool. So it's super important. So first tip is keep similar items together. So you'll see all my small CA glues are here. These are my big wood glues. All my paints are here. Even the extra ones are up here. These are the unopened, unused. They're duplicates of what's down there. All my washes are together. All my markers are together. All my paintbrushes are there, but all the extra stuff is here. All my tapes are together. So you will see this theme throughout the shop. What this creates is accessibility. When I need something, I know where to get it. I know that seems logical.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
However, sometimes you don't necessarily know exactly what you need. I'll give you an example. I need tape. I need to tape something. But maybe my first instinct is not, oh, I need gaffer tape. I need masking tape. I need double stick tape. My first thought is always, I need to tape this thing to this other thing. So when I come here, that's when that micro decision is made and I grab the tape that I need. Um, this may seem silly, but it does save time in the end. Another thing, if you can afford the space, is have stations. This is my sort of main workstation. It's the dirty station. It's where I paint. It's where I sand. It's where I do all that stuff, the main stuff. Then I have this secondary station, which I added recently, which is my clean station. If I need to cut paper, anything I don't want to get dirty or sawdust or paint on it, I do that here. I have my soldering station here. Soldering and electronics is a fairly clean thing. It doesn't really produce any dirt other than little pieces of wire, which you can just throw. So I keep all that here. This is my 3D printing station. Again, if anyone follows my work, I don't 3D print much. It's too slow a medium for me. This saw, I don't use it that much. Ideally, I would not have this next to my 3D printer just because this creates dust and I'm very careful about it. I just right now don't have anywhere else to put this. This is a little sort of kitchen island thing, a cart. I just use this as general storage, and the top usually has any materials I've ordered or current projects I'm working on, uh, things like that. Like all current stuff is up here. So if I'm working on a project, and I need to put it aside to work on something else, it'll go here. If I ordered a bunch of materials like all this wood and stuff you see here, um, then that goes here until I'm ready to use it. If I order materials for a project that I know I'm only doing 3 months from now, that stuff goes up there. Usually it stays in the box and whatever until I need it. If you can spray inside, it's great to have this. I have a lot of black, as you see, because I always paint the exteriors of my stuff black. Try and have a variety. Spray glue is a must if you do anything with paper or posters or things like that. I use this brand, and I use the where's the other one? I think I may have run out, but I use another brand. I think it's the 3M spray adhesive as well. Same with the airbrush station here. All the airbrush stuff is there. One question I get a lot is, do I need all of this to make miniatures or to craft or whatever? Absolutely not. You don't. Um, has been accumulated over 10 years. And also over 10 years, I've learned what I use, what I don't use, what I use very little of, what I use a lot of. So another tip I can give you, especially if you do this full time, you want to do this full time, or you do this often enough, or you make money from it. My biggest recommendation is buy in bulk. You will save a ton of money in the end. An example, really quick, right in front of my face. These are little acid brushes. They are super cheap. This is like I use these like for glue and whatever. Use once and you throw it. You don't wash these. These are super super cheap. They're like hollow aluminum. Um, I buy these in packs of like 200, 300. They end up costing me like cents each. Um, I'm sure on Amazon you can buy like a pack of 5 for a couple of dollars, which is really not worth it. These are just the ones I keep out. I have my storage area where I keep all my bulk stuff, where I have like probably another 100 of these. So like I'll be using these for, maybe a year, maybe longer. I'll have enough. Same with like coffee stir sticks, popsicle sticks, whatever. I buy all that stuff in bulk. Anything that I use a lot of that is a consumable, I try and buy in bulk. But there are some things, for example, CA glue. I don't get that in bulk, even though I go through it like water. I only buy 3 or 4 tubes at a time. These tend to have a bit of a shelf life if they're kept out. So I just order every month or every 2 months. I'll order 4 or 5 of them, because I've tried to order these in bulk, like 20, 25 at a time, and half the batch ended up in the garbage because they hardened up. Um, so again, like this stuff, I've had this stuff for years. Over 10 years, I've had these rolls. I don't use much of it. I use a little bit here, a little bit there, some projects more, some projects less, but this is what I have left after about 8 years since I bought this. And this was like maybe $15 worth back then. So it's really worth to buy in bulk. That's one of my big tips. If you have a dedicated space, if you have a dedicated room, make it nice. Make it your space. You know, if you like certain things, if you like a theme where everything is black and white, do it. If like for me, it's like I love 80s stuff. I love Back to the Future. I love Ghostbusters. Um, I just surround myself with stuff that's inspiring to me. Um, this is my space. No one else from the house comes in this space. This is where I work. And it's what motivates me to keep creating all the time. So that's super important. If you walk in and your place is a mess and it's dark and you're not inspired and you don't have your own art on the walls or whatever you need to inspire you, make sure you have that in the space. It's just as important as your tools and your brushes and your paints and all that stuff. Um, Everything we do is very subjective. You can ask one artist his favorite glue and he'll tell you something different from another one. It's so dependent, and it's your space, and you got to make it your space, and you got to make it a place you like to be. This is more of a tool tip, a vise, bench vise. highly recommend having one of these in the shop. A lot of people think like, oh, I don't do woodworking, or I don't do metal work, or I don't do whatever. You think you don't need this, but it's so useful just to even hold something while it dries. Or I use this area a lot to like hammer things flat or whatever. It's a really handy tool. In my case, I have the kind that bolts on, but if you work somewhere in your house that's like temporary, like your kitchen or whatever, they do have versions of this that just clamp. They just sort of clamp on here, and you can use it temporarily. But regardless of the type you get, I highly recommend having one of these. Um, super useful. I use it all the time. I also bump into it sometimes and it hurts, but very useful. So when it comes to painting and paintbrushes, as you can see, I have a lot of them. I roughly separate them by size, but the reason I have this many is just because of the way I work. I've had too many situations where I'll use a brush. I think I'm done with that color, and I'll throw it in my water, and then I want to use that paint again, that color again. So I take the brush out of the water, clean it, and you know reuse that color. Some problems with that is now you're introducing water into your paint, so you're thinning it down. Unless you want to do that, that could be a bad thing. Two, many times I've grabbed the wrong brush, so I've now introduced a different color into my paint. So both of these things have caused me problems in the past. So I've just adopted this kind of way of working where, you know, uh, I'll use this brush, I'll dip it in black, I'll paint my thing. If I think I'm done, it goes in the water. If an hour later I need black again, I'm not going to go in the water and pull this out. I'm just going to grab another brush, use it, put it in the water when I'm done, and that's it. It saves me a lot of headaches, believe it or not. And I wash all my brushes at the end of the day, anyways, so it really doesn't bother me. I just go through more brushes in a day than maybe somebody that, washes them and whatever. And again, like, this is how I work. Maybe somebody that's a little bit more patient or whatever might just like wash the brush, take it out right away, dry it, and not have that problem. But I have enough brushes to sort of do it that way, so I don't really mind. These little containers, I use these constantly. I use two types. They're both from like the dollar store, Dollar Tree, Dollarama. I use these little throwaway shot glasses and these little paper water cups. I always keep one that has like um, weathering powder in it. That's where I mix my weathering powder. So I always keep this one here. So I always have like a bit of brown, black dirt ready to go. Occasionally, you'll see little containers here. Um, if ever I have a little container of something that's small enough, I'll just keep it here and I'll use this like to mix like resin or epoxy or even like paint or whatever. Um, and sometimes it could, inspire a build or something. Maybe this could be a crate or something like that for a build. But usually little containers I'll keep. I'll put them here. I use these. I forget what brand these are. I think they're AK. I'm not sure. I use these when I'm working on a project and I need a specific color. Once I've mixed that color, I'll pour it in here, and this seals it up, and I could use that color for a month, um, and it won't dry out. So I use that. The top one is open. I just use it as a lid for the other one. I did have a top, but it broke. So really, the only two useful ones are these two. Another shop tip, tool tip I can give you is speed drying your work. Again, for me, this is my job, so time is money. I don't always have time to sit there and wait for something to dry. So I have this cordless heat gun, which I always keep on low. And next to my airbrush station over here, I have just like an old blow dryer. And basically, when I spray something or paint it, I'll just grab the gun and, you know, just dry it. And you would be surprised how quickly, especially tiny things, they dry pretty quickly. If you need to do 2, 3, 4, or 5 coats of something, um, works super, super well. I can't use it constantly. I also like this one versus the blow dryer because it's much quieter. So sometimes if I'm working at night or there's people in the house, whatever, I'll try and use this over the other one. The final tip for this video, and I'll make other videos with shop tips and tool tips, but for this video, the last tip I'm going to give you is sort of keep track of your method of working. What I mean by that is, I don't mean write it down. I mean, if you want to write it down, you can. But what I mean is, I've built my shop to have everything I use the most closest to me. The further something is from where I mainly stand, which is right there, chances are the less I need it. This is why the 3D printer is across the room. This is why the soldering station is over here. Usually, soldering and wiring is done once per project. Some projects, not at all. And it's done towards the end. So I don't need that. I don't need to have access to that all the time right in front of my face. So all the tools here, all the tools here, and here, these are the most used. As you go this way and as you go this way in my shop, I use them less. I do use the spray booth quite a bit, but that's its own station. So when I'm in sort of painting mode, I'm just standing here and everything I need is there. That's it for this video. Please let me know in the comments if there are other things you want to talk about. If you saw something in the shop that you're like, hey, what's that? Or how do you use that? Or why do you have that? Let me know and I'll make another video about it. I hope you guys enjoy. A lot of people are subscribing to the My Tutorials Plus. I'm super happy about it. Thank you guys so much. I hope these videos educate you guys, motivate you guys, and just in general help you. I've also added, for those that haven't noticed, I'm starting to curate videos from other creators, friends of mine, whatever. Those are also going to be on the page. These are either techniques that I also use that they explained way better than I did. So maybe I'll introduce you to other creators that way, and just sort of like share the love, share the craft. So check those videos out as well, and I will see you guys soon.